Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to like out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. I would want to get into a quick topic. Basically do nothing without advice. All right, so
this is Sirach, chapter 32, verse 19. Do nothing without advice, and when thou hast once done, repent not.
Right, so the scriptures is clear. It tell you do nothing without advice, and once thou hast once done, repent not. So the typical Jake would just make decisions based off of their own instinct, their own will, and then once that decision in which they made blow up in their face, then they're like, oh man, damn, well I shouldn't have made this decision. And that's because they didn't seek counsel from the Lord, and that's important in all our decisions and all our moves in which we make. We have to constantly be conscious, as it says in Proverbs 20:24, man's goings are of the Lord, therefore how can a man understand his own way? So knowing that the Most High plans our paths each and every step of the way, you can't make a move without the Lord, man. Now, we have little situations in where we might ask a brother for advice. That's cool. But first and foremost, before anything, you always want to consult with the Lord. For the Lord to plan your steps. Or, you want to pray for the Lord to, put the Spirit on somebody, to deliver you the right message. Because that's how the Lord works. You could pray unto the Lord, then the Lord can have a brother to speak unto you, to speak the right message. But it's up to you and your mind for you to perceive the message that the Lord is speaking unto you. So that's seeking advice at the hand of the Lord. And this precept right here is the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, and it says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto the Most High.
Right, so it says be careful in nothing but with prayer. So read it again, Salah. Right.
Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer.
And it says in everything by prayer, because you're seeking the Lord for advice. Remember what Peter said, we ought to say Lord will, because why? In prayer, if it's something you may want, something you want to do, and you don't have, you don't see the way to do it, you hope that the Lord provide the way to do it, you have to put up the prayer. Sometimes it even takes you to do a fast, for the Lord to answer your prayer, to whether it's yay or nay. You're gonna see the answer when the Lord tell you it.
Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto the Most High.
Right, so you're giving up that supplication to the Lord, that thankfulness, that honoring Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, doing the things that the Lord delight in, which we always say, hoping that the Lord come through with an answer for you, because look, the Lord don't have to answer. He can don't even answer you until the next following year if he like, and you got to carry that burden.
Exactly, and that's where that patience comes in, because our faith is being tested. We're being tested on all different levels within our patience, our dealing with the brotherhood, whatever aspect in life that you may be lacking in, the Most High is going to test you within that area to see if you're truly trying to progress and be reformed as a new creature in a renewing of your mind. So we're going to be tested in these different ways, and you want to be faithful unto the Most High. You want to pass these different tests. Some tests we're going to fail, because we're only human. We're subject to the flesh. But you want to make sure that your wins outweigh your losses, and dealing in the spiritual battle of good versus evil, So by seeking the Most High first and foremost before anything, that's a more of a sure way of how you will win your battles before anything. Because going back into the first example of how I said, you have a lot of 2/3 that go on and make the decisions off their own will, and then they regret it in the end. That's because they didn't seek counsel. So we're going to get into a quick example, in the book of Joshua, to show how things go, when you don't seek counsel of the Lord, So
yeah, this is Joshua chapter 9, and we start at verse 9. And they said unto him, from a very far country thou servant art come, because of the name of the Lord thy power. For we have heard the fame of him, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the kings of the Amorites, that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, which was of Asheroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, Take victuals with you for a journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, We are your servants. Therefore now make ye a league for us. This our bread we took hot for our provision out of our houses on the day we came forth to go unto you. But now, behold, it is dry, and it is muddy. It says, And these bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they be rent. And these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of our very long journey.
Right, and right here, you basically had the inhabitants of Gibeon, which were Hivites of the nation of Canaan, in which they heard of the tales in which the Lord YAHAWASHI did for Israel, in them past journeys, going up against Sihon and Og, and going up against Jericho. So now they knew that, Israel was coming that way. So they basically lied unto Joshua and unto the children, and to our people, to say that they came from a long country, and to basically try to trick them so that they can make a pact with them so they wouldn't be destroyed, So, go ahead.
All right. Verse 13 again. And these bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they be rent. And these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of a very long journey.
Right, so the way in which they try to trick Israel, they put on old garments, old shoes, took up old bottles of wine that was worn out, and old moldy bread, and try to use that as proof and say, look, we come from a long journey, our clothes was fresh, but now look, they're old. To try to prove to them, that they came from a long place, but actually they was their neighbors. So go ahead.
All right, verse 14. And the men took of their victuals, and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord.
Right, they took of their victuals and asked not at the counsel of the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them, to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them.
Right, so, that's the point. So they took of their victuals, and they asked not at the counsel of the Lord. So what they in this instant they went off, not willingly, but they were tricked into actually going off. Because what the Lord told our people in Deuteronomy the 7th chapter, verse 7 1 through chapter 7 1 through 4, that when we go into these lands that which we shall inhabit, you are to slay all these other nations, all the nations of the Canaanites, make no covenants with them, make no marriages with them. But what in this instant they made a covenant with them, because what they didn't seek the counsel of the Lord. So they went off, but just in their instance, they're lucky, through the Spirit of the Lord, that the Lord had mercy upon them, that the Lord didn't bring judgment upon them. And it still found Joshua and all of them men faithful, but that's only at the grace of the Lord. Because when you look at the time of Saul, when Saul, he was supposed to kill off all the Amalekites, but he didn't, and he took some of that cattle and sacrificed it unto the Lord. The Lord said, what? Samuel came and told him, said, why did you do this? You didn't follow the commandments of the Lord. So he was being punished for that. And the 2 times in which Saul got punished, they said, what? The kingdom would be stripped from him. And it's like the other one escaped me. But, eventually by Saul not following what the Lord commanded of him, and him not seeking counsel of the Lord to get a final judgment before he made a decision, the kingdom got stripped from him. So before we do anything, we want to make sure that we seeking counsel of the Lord. That way, that crown in which we're seeking after in righteousness don't get stripped from us doing the wrong thing in the wrong spirit,
Yeah, and just to add in there, the apostle went over the word presumptuous, lately, and I just did a quick Google search. It says presumptuous, It says, of a person of their behavior, failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriated. Because why are we supposed to seek counsel and ask advice? When you be presumptuous, sometimes, yeah, you could be on the money, but then when you're not on the money, now you have to suffer shame because you was presumptuous. You see? So I read it again. It says, of a person of their behavior, failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriated. Now, it touches on it, but it doesn't hit it on the nail. You know, but like the topic of the lesson is seek advice, all right? And repent not, because that's the order of things. The Heavenly Father wants us to deal with order, because in heaven is order, which is going to be placed upon earth. As we say in the prayer, as it is in heaven, as it will be on earth. It's what you asking for is the order of the heaven to be here on earth, you know?
You know, and another quick point, you know, just, you know, for brothers out there, you know, another wise bit of advice. We have a lot of different examples out there of men that fell by the wayside because they didn't simply ask advice, you know, at the mouth of the Lord. When we look at examples like Isaiah, you know, before he fell out, you know, and when Apostle Ramlab had did the video, he had said that Apostle Tahar was thinking about setting up a separate camp and that he was going to, you know, thinking about potentially putting him in head of that camp. Now, only if he had, if Isaiah had patience and possessed his soul correctly in the correct manner, you know, he could have been set up in a proper state and still been enduring within his truth, you know. But the Lord cast him out because he was none of his from the first place, man. So these are the different examples in which we get to look at to where we have to know where we have to seek advice and counsel of the Lord, and we have to be patient within our movements, you know, and having rule over our spirit because we're young within His truth. So we need that guidance, you know. And another thing, you know, a lot of brothers go through, you know, different trials and tribulations within a brotherhood. You know, you may be thinking of leaving your camp and different things like that. You don't just up and just do stuff like that, man. You got to seek advice and counsel with the Lord and to ask the Lord to prepare your way before you. You don't just do things based off of emotion, you know what I'm saying? You do things off of reason and off of logic and off of you trusting in YAHAWASHI to plan that steps for you. And when the Lord, you pray unto the Lord and the Lord has to plan them steps for you, now it's going to take time. You don't know how long it's going to take, but you have to be patient and wait for the Lord to show you those signs, man. You know, so you just don't up and do things off of your own emotions, you know?
Yeah, just to add to the further for this definition, right? I just looked at the synonyms, and you know, when you not on the money and you being ashamed because you being presumptuous, right? You know, it says synonyms, the synonym words: brazen, overconfident, arrogant, bold, rude, uncivil, cocky, impudent, sassy, you know? And those are the things you are when you don't seek advice and seek the order. There's a proper way of going about things, doing things with decency and order. And that's what the Lord loves, so He can actually guide your steps in righteousness.
Come on. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, you know, so with that, you know, we hope this segment was edifying, you know, and we hope there's some strength out there to brothers, you know, that they know how to be in the right spirit and, you know, to constantly seek advice and counsel at the mouth of the Lord, you know, before you make any steps, man. Don't make any steps on your own, because we don't know which way to go. We don't know our left foot from our right foot. We don't even know how to tie our shoes straight, man, without the Lord, man. You know, so we want to be in the right spirit of things, and being in the right spirit of things is constantly praying unto the Lord non-stop to plan your path, to plan your journey, man. Our goings are of the Lord. So, you know.
Yeah, quick precept real quick.
You know, this truth is serious, man. You know, that's why, you know, the Lord had Jethro, put the spirit on Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, to tell him, like, yo, you got to set up men, you know, to have order over 10,000, so on and so forth, unless you're going to drive yourself crazy. It's like how the brother said, everything has to be done, you know, in decency and order. You know what I'm saying? And there's proper channels with everything. And as the scriptures say, you know, do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if so, are you not unworthy to judge the smallest things? So we got to be able to judge small little matters amongst ourselves, you know, and because the Lord is entrusting us with the kingdom. The Lord is entrusting us, you know, with other souls, other men. So we have to be found faithful unto the Lord in doing so, and asking the Lord to guide us, that we guide other men in the right spirit. If you have some type of rank or you're a leader of a camp,
Right. Because you have to seek advice, because the scripture proves it, right? This is Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? We don't know our way. We can't, we can't make our own destiny. We can't pre-plan of what we may or want to do. It's of the Lord. So I read it again. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? This is why we have to seek advice from YAHAWASHI, through YAHAWASHI, and through the men, the apostles and elders who he set up. It's all a chain link,
And you'll know those things is on point through the Spirit, because you'll see it. That's how we know and how we trust that the Lord YAHAWASHI is dealing with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because we see those signs constantly, man. And brothers converse amongst one another, and we see them clearly working within our lives to know that we have to be on one accord with the Lord's program, and that's through the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. So with that, we hope the segment was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahawashi, double wonders to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to Lek out there doing this work of faith and labor, love, true sincerity. Shalawam, death to America.
Death to America.